What's up, gang? Today I attempt, and yes I say attempt, to change the spark plugs on my 97 Grand Caravan. So if you have a late 90s, early 2000s Chrysler minivan, this video is for you. This is for you to decide if you want to try it or if you want to pay somebody to do it. I would be very curious what somebody would pay to have this done, because I might just do that next time. I hope you enjoy the video. Hope you enjoy my frustrations and I don't confuse you. You gotta be ready to take a bunch of parts off, for me anyway. But maybe if you have really skinny hands and arms, you might be able to get it done. But let's get rolling, and I'll show you what we had to do. Here is our 97 Grand Caravan. This is a Dodge, same for Town & Country and Chrysler. And I had a lot of background noise, so I'll have to do this as we go. Here you can remove that for the air filter. I won't have socket sizes and stuff unless they're mentioned in the video or shown, because I don't remember. But here you can remove this air filter to get all this out. You're gonna have to take it off anyway. And here is where our spark plugs go, the wires go into the distributor. And then, as you can see, the front ones are easy. They're all right here. And I already pulled off one of the wires, which I think is original. If anybody knows, tell me in the comments. These are buried in the back, and I have no clue at this point how to even reach them. So as we go, you know, you can see that one back there, but that's it. There's one in the middle. They're about the same spots as they are in the front, just in the back. And then here's a little Torx. We got to take off the wiper arms and all these little screws and bolts, because what we're going to do is take out the whole wiper tray. And then over here, you just can't see even to get back there. So I have my new spark plugs, and they're supposed to come in gapped, but you never know. If you need to gap them, this is what you need. Spark plugs, 0.05 inches, and RN14 PMP5, which is what we have right here. PMP5. So that's correct. It's a pretty wide gap, as you can see. Guess these older motors need more spark. And then right here is where you're going to line it up on your spark plug gapper tool if you have one. By the way, this is cheap metal and I don't like it. And it ended up like digging into the bottom when I was measuring them. So go get yourself a quality metal spark plug gapper. Then this is pretty wide here, so you got to have a socket wrench or spark plug wrench that fits on there. This is 13/16, and that's the one that actually works and has a rubber gasket in there to hold on to it once you turn them out, because sometimes you have to. They're in a tight spot. So there's the first one out. Looks pretty oily, gross, and dirty. Hopefully that doesn't show me signs of, well, the engine's definitely old, but hopefully it's decent. These have a little cone on them instead of the wide electrode in there. So at first I thought I had the wrong spark plugs, but I actually talked to the dealer and they said that they should both work. Even though they're a different style, they were updated throughout the years, but this one looks pretty rounded and worn compared to a new one. I think this was my second one. You can see there's two stripes around the top here. And those are the ones that have the cone-shaped electrode in the bottom. But this is so dirty and grody. This van sat a lot, so this is probably the first time these are getting changed. Or at least the first time I'm changing them since I bought it. Here's a comparison with the first ones that came out and the new ones that are going in. I have 3 that have the old electrode type and 3 that have the newer electrode type for some reason. I don't know why they changed them, but I guess they'll all work. Guess we'll know in the end. So there's a new one installed. Put thread locker on the threads. Just don't get it anywhere else. Not thread locker, sorry. Put anti-seize on them. And at this point, we're reusing the original, what I think is the original. Tell me in the comments. Spark plug wires, but I've never seen anything like these. So I think they're from 1997. And hopefully they still work. Sometimes they take a lot to get off. And there's spider nests inside here, which probably doesn't hurt, but probably doesn't help. Just goes to show that this has been sitting and neglected. And here we're just working our way across the front. This isn't taking very long. These actually don't look bad, but I think we're going to replace them in the end. But not in this video. So now, shut your hood, and let's get all this wiper stuff off so we can get to the back spark plugs. This pops right off, just kind of lifts up, and mine's broken, so it falls off. And then here, you're basically just going to want to turn that bolt off. It's looking like a, maybe I'll show you, looking like a 15 millimeter fits on there quite well. And then here, Torx is a T25. So that's what takes these screws out. We're going to have to get all these open. And then there's one buried in here somewhere. There it is. So there's 1 and 2. And I think there's one in the middle. There's 3. And then 4. And then 5 over there on the end. And then these guys are held on down here. They're just pressed onto those studs there. So we'll pop those off so that this can lift out. And that reveals, once your wiper arms are off, reveals all your wiper mechanisms. And at this point, this is pretty much a single unit to lift out. Look how much, I got to get a vacuum in here. But our water was not draining, so that means our drains are clogged down here. This hose right here. That gets all clogged up and then nothing drains out of here. So we're going to take care of that problem also. And then we have bolts in here, very rusty because there's moisture in there. But we're going to remove those bolts. Remove the bolts out of there. Everything connected to the firewall. Here's our lines for the washer, the wiper the washer spray. We got 10 millimeter bolts in here, and 13s for the bolts down lower. So these brackets are loose now, all across this area. And then this is your motor for your wiper, so this has to come out. Looks like we have a red clip here that probably pushes through, and then you push down on this and pull that apart. See? So many things to take apart. And then this grommet, you can pull that down through or disconnect it otherwise. There you go. See that red clip lifts up? And then you can pull this down, push that down, and then pull it apart. And these actually look pretty decent. There's some wires cut here, which I don't know why there's extra wires there. But then this guy is free to lift out. It's relatively heavy. Just make sure that you are ready for the weight. As long as that's all free. Make sure nothing's catching as you're lifting this out. And there you go. We should have access to our rear spark plugs, but you still can't even see them. That is free. And we'll clean that up before we throw it back in. keep track of all your nuts and bolts and make sure you don't lose anything as you go. We still cannot get access to our plugs. Even if we got to the left and the right one, there's no way we're getting to the middle. So now we're going to pull out the air filter element, or the air filter box here, the intake. So that connects down to where the air filter is housed. We don't even have to mess with that. But in this point I do. But loosen up that clamp. You can pull that up. Our filter looks pretty decent. I'm not too worried about that. It's a weird line here. Don't know what that is. But probably something got in there for some reason. And yeah, that's where your filter comes from. So if you want to change your filter while you're at it, go ahead and do it. This whole box comes off the intake right here. There's where your throttle body is. And we should clean that up while we're in here. I don't have spray for it, but the mass airflow sensor is located in there somewhere. And now we can kind of get access to that spark plug. See down there? You can actually see that boot, but it's still almost impossible to get to. So now we're going to take off this bracket. I think probably have some 12 millimeter bolts here. We're going to pull that bracket off. Got these suckers out. We got 15 here, 15 with the alternator, and 13 there, and we can lift this bracket out of the way. So that we can get that out of the way. Set it aside. Be careful with some more access in there. I guess it's just a ground wire. Now we have this is connected to the firewall for some reason. To this spark plug right here. Maybe if it comes free, it doesn't fall down in there. Is there any way we can get to the middle one? But here we can pretty much coming off as we need to a little bit. This dang thing's in the way. I think that's going to come off anyway.
Dumpster and dumpster dive.
So I think this is our first plug. I pulled that out of the way in order to. It's not really. They don't put anybody. People don't put good stuff in there. Get back there. I'm gonna have to get some dielectric grease to clean all this up and make sure we have good connections. So we're just pulling these out of the way so we can get our hand back behind here and get to that plug on the left in the back. So there's all three in the back. Just making some room since I can't reach it that well. I still can't reach it. There's so many spider nests in here. It's nasty. Actually found a live one, and we think it might have been poisonous spiders. So it's good some are fried. I think we're going to be replacing these boots for sure. They're just old and crusty. So at this point, I really just don't know how I'm going to get back there. We're going to have to be pulling some more stuff off. It's just impossible for me to get back there. I'm sure some of you can. Apparently, it's easier to get to the spark plugs from underneath. So that's what we're going to try and do today. Sad that I forgot my creeper. Well, I can see them. Right there's one. Over there's the other one that already has the spark plug in. And this one, I'm trying. Basically, to do this job, I think it just needs small hands. Small arms. We're going to be taking the manifold off. That's all there is to it. Finding as we go. If you want to make something efficient, you go ahead and take everything off that you need and try not to mess around with other things and trying to get around it. We're going to need to do this. Manifold. So now I got dirt in here. I believe we have some 10s here 1 or 2. There might be more. 3, 4. I'm sure there's probably another one there. So there's that. So right now, get a good picture of this. Luckily it's numbered. And then I believe we need to pull bolt, 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 hiding under there. Well, maybe we don't need this one. Maybe we don't need these, so just grab that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure we don't mess up any of this. These hoses will come off. We'll just leave that on there. And make sure this guy's attached there. That comes off. And then all I need to do is just lift it out of the way. So make sure none of this gets crimped when we do it. And I don't think it's really attached on the back. So that's what we'll do. We'll pull this off next. All right, so this is the way you do it. 10 inches out here, 12's in here, and then I have a 15 with a mounting bracket down here. So there's an arm that reaches back there and mounts it. Now, when I move all this, I have to see what I have to remove. Right now, I'm just gonna leave it and hope that I can just get it out of the way because it wants to lift up. So I just need to move it aside so I can get it. I don't need to get it free. I just need to get it out of the way. If this whole thing, no, I couldn't spin it if I have all these attached. So get a good picture of that so that I can move it if I need to. I think I'm done for the night again, just because I need a longer something to get in there to get that 15-inch bolt off, 15 millimeter. And then I think I can lift this off and kind of bring it this way, and then I can get in behind. Had to take off the intake. This is the intake. Air box. Filters down there. It's brand new. It's really nice. And I gotta blow all this stuff off out. Make sure dirt doesn't get everywhere. But I'm gonna try and leave this connected. So anyway, bolts and nuts for this are right there, just for my reference. And bolts for the igniter are here, and if we have to take that off and replace that at some point, we will. And I should get plug wires to replace these guys. That might help me too. So when we put all this back together, we'll have new wires. I've decided. I guess this is another option. If you follow that bracket up from down there, it comes up here, and you can actually get it off the back of the engine. I just sucked in pollen. But I got this off, so maybe we don't need to do the down bracket. Well, now we're pulling vacuum lines off. So got these four, they just pull straight off. Be careful not to tear the hoses. Then I pulled this one off, and that's like black and sooty inside, so that needs cleaned. That could be our problem too. That's disgusting. Like I said, uh-oh, this one's falling apart, isn't it? It really is. And then we're gonna lift this off and remove this. If anybody tells you you can change spark plugs on your Grand Caravan, Chrysler minivan, maybe pay somebody to do it, I'm in the process of right now pulling everything off of here. Vacuum lines, plugs, everything. And then I realized that right down there, there's a hose that needs to be disconnected from the intake. So that's what we're gonna go after now. All this fun, you're missing out if you don't do it yourself. But I can pretty much lift this up once I get that off there. And then there's bolts along the back here. They aren't exactly 10s, but they're ASE, and I was able to get some of them off. They mount this wiring harness to the intake. So this bolts out, this bolts out, and I have one more that I need to get out. Probably this one which I think is like a 14 or 15, or it's probably ASE, so find the equivalent. After all this time, I had to go find my spark plugs. So now we gotta make sure they're all gapped at 0.050 inches. And again, RN14 PMP5s. And this is what I was sold, so we're hoping they all work. RN14 PMP5s. Now, these have black rings on the top, but I don't think they all did, so hopefully everything is good. And these have like a cone on the top, so we're just gonna assume they're all good, because the other ones that I put in the front did not have this cone. So let's hope for the best. Our 1/2-inch bolts, which are right here, came out of that EGR line or whatever that was. So just have to make sure to clean that up a little bit when we put this all back down, and make sure none of this crap goes in your area. And now, right there's our spark plugs. That's what we've been needing to get to. So other than this gasket breaking when I pulled this off, now I need a new intake gasket, I guess is what this will be called. And other than that, everything's good. Yeah, don't let any of this junk go down in there, because that's your engine. I already see some dirt in there, so I need to make sure that's cleaned out. Put some anti-seize on the threads, so make this job even easier next time. All right, so because of that torn gasket, and I'm probably gonna replace the spark plug wires, we're gonna call it a night. I put this back down on there, and I'm gonna have to suck those out with the vacuum, because need to make sure we don't have anything down in there in the intake. And I'm gonna put my air box back on. I mean, there's our air filter. Put that back on so nothing gets in there, and then I think we're good for the night. That sucker lined back up just fine, so I'm not gonna put the bolts back in. I was gonna do that just in case it needed it. And then stick this back on too. What's down in there? I don't know. All right, so that's it for tonight. All the spark plugs now have anti-seize on them. They're all replaced, and next thing we'll do is put wires on. But I just wanted to show you what it was like to get to this. I think I'm gonna make this video because it's gotten long. I'll make a new video for spark plug wires and finishing up putting this back together. All this stuff, make sure you knew where you took it off and that it goes back on somewhere. I'm gonna have to figure all that out. Maybe I'll be looking at pictures and video from this video. So I will see you guys on the next one when we put all this back together. That's what you got to do, unless you have really skinny hands and stuff to get back in behind there. But once you got behind there, it's hard to get your wrenches and sockets on there. So pulling this off, I need a new gasket, wires, and then we'll bring everything out, blow all this crap out of here, and hopefully we're running good again. That's how we're changing spark plugs on this van. So thanks for watching. And this says it's a 13/16. That's what I needed for these spark plugs. When I ordered them, they had to get them in because they don't carry them at Napa anymore. These guys don't work. This is a 5/8 socket for spark plug. But that's where we're at. I'm just gonna leave it all sitting here. Alternator moved out of the way. Distributor. This might need replaced also. We'll see. Hopefully not, but that's an easy one to get to. So I'll see you guys on the next one. And hopefully we'll get all this cleaned up. This is insane. I should have put a tarp over this because I took all the wiper thing out. You guys saw that, so should have tarped this. Just thought of that now. Anyway, see you on the next one. See my new shock strut towers? Yeah, they were brand new, so this better work. This van needs to come back to life. See you later, Grand Caravan. Good night.